A lightning bolt struck the coffin, but what happened next froze everyone. Carol was a 50-year-old farmer living alone with her dog, Max. A day ago, she had suddenly passed away from a heart attack. The next day, her family and friends gathered at the cemetery to say goodbye to her. Max was barking non-stop and trying to jump on the coffin. Several people tried to calm him down, but Max refused to settle. Suddenly, it started raining. The family tied Max to a nearby tree so the service could continue. As the coffin was lowered, thunder rumbled in the distance. Despite being tied up, Max continued barking and pulling at the leash. Out of nowhere, a bright lightning bolt struck the coffin with a loud crack. The sound scared everyone. People screamed and ran, not knowing what had happened. Carol's grandmother, Gina, stood frozen, staring at the coffin. What happened inside the coffin shocked everyone. A soft sound came from inside the coffin. It was faint, like a light tap or a small movement. Gina froze. Had she imagined it? Her heart pounded. She looked around at the others. "Did anyone hear that?" she asked, her voice shaking. The funeral director stepped closer, his hands trembling. The sound grew louder. Then the lid of the coffin moved slightly. A hush fell over the crowd. No one spoke. No one moved. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the coffin, their faces filled with fear and shock. The director hesitated. His breathing was unsteady, but he reached out and slowly lifted the lid. Gasps filled the air as the coffin opened. Inside, Carol lay still, her skin pale and cold. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her fingers twitched. A faint breath escaped her lips. Her chest rose and fell ever so slightly. "She's alive!" the director cried. Gina's hands flew to her mouth. Then she ran forward, tears streaming down her face. "Carol, can you hear me?" she asked, her voice breaking. She knelt beside the coffin, reaching for her granddaughter's hand. Carol's eyelids fluttered. Slowly they opened. Her eyes were unfocused, her expression lost. But she was alive. The crowd murmured in shock. People whispered to each other, unable to believe what they were seeing. Someone pulled out their phone and dialed for an ambulance. Outside, Max, Carol's loyal dog, barked wildly. He was tied to a tree nearby, but he strained against his leash. He barked again and again, his body pulling forward as if he knew what had just happened. Minutes later, the paramedics arrived. They carefully lifted Carol onto a stretcher. One of them checked her pulse. "It's weak, but it's there," he said. The lightning had somehow restarted her heart. In the ambulance, Gina held Carol's hand tightly. Tears kept falling from her eyes. She could not stop crying. This felt like a dream, like something that should not be real. At the hospital, doctors rushed to examine Carol. After many tests, they confirmed the truth. She was alive. She had survived. News of the miracle spread through the village. No one could explain it. Everyone talked about it for days.